Hello people, I'm Bharat Acharya. Welcome to our new video. So in today's video, we're going to learn branch instructions of 8051. We've been doing the whole instruction set of 8051. I've told you there are 111 instructions. One by one, we've been covering all of them. So you've seen data transfer instructions, arithmetic instructions, logic instructions, Boolean instructions, that's bit operations. And now the very big group called branch instruction. It has 21 different instructions. What these instructions do, they cause a branch in the program. See, programs normally execute in a sequential manner. Why? Because of gravity? No. Because after every instruction, PC goes on getting incremented. What is PC? Program counter. It always gives the address of the next instruction. So the address, I'm the processor, this is the memory. For me, any location in the memory can carry an instruction. I can fetch an instruction from anywhere. So the register PC, inside the processor there is a register called PC. Whatever address it gives, processor will fetch instruction from that address. Now as a principle, the moment any instruction is fetched, PC gets incremented. That is why program goes in a sequential manner. So that's the sequential flow, the default way a program works. But you've done programs in various languages. I'm sure you've done programs. You come across an if, you come across a goto, a for loop, a while loop, etc., a function call. These cause a branch in the program. So the instructions that cause a branch in the program form the branch control group. That's what we are learning. The idea of causing a branch is to change the value of PC. Otherwise, PC goes on getting incremented. When you change the value of PC, you change in the course of the program. Now, branches are of two main types. There's something called a jump and there's something called a call. The difference between the two, in a jump, you take a jump to a new location and you continue. You forget where you come from, you don't care where you come from. You just take a jump and you go ahead. Whereas when you do a call, you're calling a function. A function is also called subroutines in assembly language. So you're calling a subroutine, so you call a function basically. You go to the function, execute it, but you don't stay there. You come back. See the difference. In a jump, you just go ahead and continue. In a call, you call a subroutine, execute it and come back. I'm going to teach you what are the various types of jumps. I have done a whole video. I'm sure you've seen the playlist. I've done a video on the difference between short jump, long jump and absolute jump. I'm not doing that again in this video. What's the point of teaching the same thing again and again? That is a theory topic, the three types of jumps, short, long and absolute. It's a fabulous topic. In Bombay University, it comes as a short question of 10 marks. Okay, it's a very, very intricate topic. I've done a separate video for that. I'm not doing that right now. I'm teaching you the instructions. So there are three types of jumps, short, long, absolute. There are two types of calls and there are two types of returns. Why do you need a return? When you call a subroutine, you execute the subroutine. As I said, you don't just stay there. Then you come back. Now you won't come back by magic. There has to be an instruction for that. So the instruction is called return. It will surprisingly always get you back to the very next instruction. Of course, how does this work? I'm going to teach you in full detail. There is a role of stack in this operation. So I'm going to teach you that. Then we'll come to the conditional jumps, the one that I use much more often in programs. So there is something called CJ&E. It has various types. There's something called DJ and Z. The most important instruction of all of them in terms of usage, in terms of programming. Every loop in 8051 is made using DJ and Z. This is like your for loop instruction. So I'm going to teach you that, the various types of DJ and Z. Like we mentioned about looping, so I'm going to show you how to make loops. First we'll make an infinite loop, then we'll see various examples of finite loops. I've kept the space empty, I'm going to write all of that. And then there's a superb Viva question. How to generate 256 iterations using an 8-bit register. I don't know which question you'll get in Viva, but the subject is huge. It's anybody's guess what can be asked you. But if you get this question and you are able to answer this, you have won your battle with the examiner. You impress the examiner. If somebody gives this answer to me when I'm taking a Viva, you really know, yeah, okay, this student knows the subject properly. Because this is not an answer that you find in textbooks. This is an answer which either you got to really think hard and get it, or you've done a lot of programs. That's when you realize it during programming. So anyways, I'm going to teach you how to get 256 iterations. Then there are more conditional jumps, jump if carry, jump if no carry, jump if zero, jump if no zero, indirect jump using A plus DPTR, and then bitwise jump instructions, JB, JNB and JBC. JNB is, if you've seen theory topic of 8051, if you've seen programs related to timers, related to serial ports, you know how important this instruction is. Is there in every serious program of 8051. It's the one that is used to check whether the timer has overflown or not, or whether your serial data has been completed, and so on. Okay, so let's start. First, I'm going to make you understand what's the difference between a jump and a call. Then we go ahead. You know the different types of jumps. I'm not doing that right now. Different types are short, long and absolute. It makes no difference to the programmer whichever jump he or she uses. The difference is only in the range. In short, your range is -128 to +127. I hope you remember that. In absolute, the range is 2 KB but within the same page. And in long, there is no restriction. you can jump anywhere. So we're not doing the difference between short, long and absolute. What you need to first understand is what's the difference between a jump and a call. Look here. In a jump, you take a jump to a new location and continue. In a call, you're calling a function, a subroutine, executing it and coming back. So this is a detailed diagram of call. To go to the subroutine, you use call instruction with the name of the subroutine. I've given this the name sub, it can be any name. And to come back, you use the instruction called RET. RET stands for return. Where will return get you back? To the same instruction or to the next instruction? Exactly to the next instruction. Obviously, if you come back to the same instruction, we'll end up going there again and you just become an infinite loop. So you come back to the next instruction. Now, let's call this address return address, basically the address of the next instruction. Let's see how does this program function. Processor is executing the program sequentially by going on incrementing PC. Few simple questions. PC stands for program counter. PC always contains address of the next instruction. The moment any instruction is fetched, PC gets incremented. Remember all these words, they will all be useful in a matter of minutes. So when processor comes to this instruction, first of all it will fetch this instruction. Now as soon as this instruction is fetched, PC gets incremented, which means PC at this point of time is containing the return address. Had this not been a branch instruction, had this been a normal instruction, after this by normal action PC would have gone to the next instruction and program would have gone to the program would have followed the sequential flow. But now, because we have written call, program has to go to this subroutine. To go to this subroutine, the address of the subroutine will be put into PC. What did I say in the beginning of the video? Branching means changing the value of PC. Instead of PC containing return address, PC will now get the address of the subroutine. So the course of the program will change. We will go to the subroutine, execute the subroutine again randomly or sequentially. Sequentially, by going on implementing PC, we reach here. Now, on return, program has to come back. To come back, again we are changing the flow of the program. That means again we are changing the value of PC. Now PC has to get the return address. Did you understand this point? To go to the subroutine, PC needs the subroutine address. To come back, PC needs the return address. Now for 1 minute, think you are 8051 and try to do this procedure. Immediately you will realize there is a problem and the solution to that problem will make you understand this whole instruction. Come on, let's do it together. To go from here to here, there is no rocket science involved. Just go on incrementing the value of PC. To go from here to here, you are 8051. You want the subroutine address so that you can put it into PC. That address you will get from the instruction because we have very clearly written call subroutine. We not just written call. We have said call subroutine. When you write subroutine, basically the assembler will substitute the address. That address will be put into PC. Program will go to the subroutine. Again, to come from here to here, there is no big deal. Just go on incrementing PC. Problem happens here. See what you have written. Come on, look here. You've written RET. RET stands for return. Means all you have said is go back. What have you not told? Where to go back? Did you understand the point? In a C program, to call a function, you write the name of the function. Again, what is a name? Address. For the layman, it's a name. For a person who really understands stuff, it is an address. So while calling a function, you're giving the address. While coming back, you're just using a closing bracket. That closing bracket tells you go back to the main program, but it doesn't tell you where to go back. So that closing bracket is your return instruction. Looking at return, the processor knows it has to go back, but it doesn't know where. But it needs the return address so that it can put it to PC. You can't just put anything into PC and come back over here. You need this exact return address. So do you understand there is a problem? There is no return address provided over here. Student says, so what's the big deal? Just like you've written call subroutine, you can also write return at so and so address. Can you do that? No. Why? Because this is a subroutine. Why do we write subroutines? So that we can call them from here, from here, from here, from here, from here, anywhere. Wherever you call this subroutine from, the address of the subroutine is the same, but the return address is not the same. The return address depends upon where it was called from. That means inside the subroutine, you cannot write the return address. Did you understand the point I'm making? Inside the subroutine, you can only say return. You cannot say where to return. So there is a situation over here. Processor sees it has to return, but it has no damn clue where to go. How does it get this return address? Let's see. When the processor was doing this instruction call, what did I say? The moment this instruction was fetched, PC got incremented. That means at that point of time, PC had the return address. Does 8051 knew this return address? Yes. Where? Now or later? Later. While going or while coming back? While coming back. But while going, it has to put the subroutine address into PC. Now, do you understand the moment it puts the subroutine address into PC, it will lose the return address. Do you understand that? Should it lose the return address? No, because after this return address is not provided by anybody. So what the processor does is, it sees it's a call instruction. There is a difference between a jump and a call. In a jump, you just go. In a call, you have to come back, and the processor knows that. So before putting the subroutine address into PC, it will secure this address, the return address which is there in PC right now. It will just save it somewhere. Where will it save it? The stack. Processor will push the value of PC into the stack. What has been pushed? The return address. This is your stack. This is the top of stack pointed by SP. I hope you know all of these things. You cannot start watching big videos before seeing the basics. All this is covered a long time back. So there is something called the stack. In the stack, there are various elements. This is the top of stack. This is empty area. The top of stack is pointed by SP. So what will the processor do? It will push the value of PC. PC means return address. It will push this return address into the stack. It will come at the top of the stack, and SP will now point over here. Please tell me, do you understand this? SP gets incremented on every push. We've discussed all of this earlier. So now SP will point over here. Your return address has now been secured in the stack. Now, very conveniently, processor will put this subroutine address into PC, will go to the subroutine, execute the whole subroutine. At the end, when it encounters return, it knows it has to go back. Where does it have to go back? At that return address. Where is that return address? The stack. It will get this return address back from the stack by doing a pop. It will do a pop PC from the stack, will get back the return address, put it in PC, and that's how it will come back to the main program. Please tell me, did you understand this? Let's discuss this orally without diagram. Come on, look here. Don't try to sneak in, try to see what is written behind me. Come on, be honest. What was going on? Subroutine or main program? Main program. What instruction did we write? Call. Moment processor sees call, it knows it has to go and also come back. When call instruction was fetched, PC already gets incremented. That means PC is containing the return address right now. First of all, processor will push this value of PC into an independent structure called the stack. This return address has been stored in the stack. Now, into PC, processor will put the subroutine address which is written in the instruction. From there, it will now go to the subroutine, execute the subroutine. At the end, when it encounters return instruction, it wants this return address back. Where is it present? Stack. It will pop it from the stack, put it back into PC. That's how it will come back to the next instruction and will continue. Please tell me, did you understand this? Is the working of a call clear? So when we do a call, internally there is a push. When we do a return, internally there is a pop. On a call, you push the return address in the stack. On a return, you pop it back from the stack. Please tell me, are we clear? This is how every function is executed, even in C language, in any language in the world. When you invoke a function, you want to execute the function, but you also want to come back to the next instruction. So when you invoke a function, the return address is stored in the stack. While coming back, you just pop back from the stack. There are various rules over here that you have to remember, but not for the sake of these instructions. So I'm not going to go too much into it. This is general knowledge. When you are inside the subroutine, you may want to push your own data in the stack also. The stack is available to the programmer. Yes, go ahead. Do as many pushes as you want, but see to it that you do the same number of pops. Look here. Look at my fingers. Think of my fingers to be stack elements. This is the top of stack. Okay. At this place, we have stored the return address. The processor has stored the return address. These are empty elements. Now, during the subroutine, if you've done a push, see to it that you also do a pop. If you've done 2 pushes, do 2 pops. If you've done 3 pushes, do 3 pops. Otherwise, suppose you've done 3 pushes and only 2 pops. Your number is above the return address and is now the top of stack. On return, when the processor will do a pop, it will get back this number, and instead of coming back here, processor will go back to some random location. That should not happen. So there is a simple rule. During a subroutine, number of pushes should be equal to number of pops. It's a very simple rule. Every programmer knows when he or she is writing a subroutine, programmer knows how subroutines work. So they have to take care of this. I just mentioned this because while learning, you may get it out. In the class when I teach the students get it out. Been teaching for 18 years, so I know where the mind of students go generally. From the experience. So in case you had this doubt, just wanted to get the solution for it. In case you have another doubt, why was this return address stored in the stack? The fault was databases in the world. Why did we use the stack to store it? Stack is a beautiful principle, last in, first out. If you store 1, 2, 3 in the stack, you get back 3, 2, 1. So how is that useful? That is useful in the case of nested subroutines. You get a call, you go to the subroutine. Midway, you call one more subroutine. Midway, you call one more subroutine. So you pushed return address 1, then return address 2, then return address 3. While coming back, you don't want to come back in that order. You want to come back in the reverse order. All the 3 times while coming back, there will be just a return written. On that return, processor will do a pop. Now it should get back the correct return addresses. You store 1, 2, 3, you will obviously get back 3, 2, 1 because that works in the principle last in, first out. That is why return address is always shown in the stack. I hope you understood this. So that was your call instruction and return instruction. Call has 2 types, ACALL and LCALL. As I said, there is no difference between ACALL and LCALL in terms of working. It's basically the range. As return is used to come back now. There is another return called ret-i. Ret-i is called return from ISR. Say return from ISR. If you learn theory of 8051, you know this is also the way interrupts work. You know there is something called interrupts. Please tell me you know that. Now when there is an interrupt, program goes to a subroutine, that is the ISR, executes it, and then comes back to the next instruction. How does it manage to come back? Again the same thing, while going to the ISR, it will push the return address in the stack, while coming back it will pop. So a ret and a ret-i practically do the same thing. A ret will also pop the return address, a ret-i will also pop the return address. The difference is, when you write ret-i, it is assumed you're writing it for an ISR. If this was an ordinary subroutine, see, get this clear. All ISRs are subroutines, correct? All subroutines are not ISRs. There can be ordinary subroutines and there can be ISRs. Ordinary subroutine, you write ret. ISR, you write ret-i. What's the difference? While going to an ISR, now I'm speaking only about ISRs. While going to an ISR, all this happens. Moreover, all interrupts are disabled. This is the principle of interrupts. I have explained this in the topic of interrupts. Please check out the video. I would love to explain everything again. But you know what's going to happen? You'll keep talking the same things and miss out on the more important things that are pertaining to this topic. I have explained this point in detail in the lecture of interrupts. And it's already there on the website and on the app. Please check it out. So, when you go to an ISR, as a standard practice, interrupts are disabled. There is an EA bit in the IESFR, the MSB bit of that SFR. That EA bit becomes 0, so globally interrupts are disabled. While coming back, you want interrupts to be re-enabled. So when you write ret-i, not only will it return, it will also re-enable the interrupts. That's the speciality of ret-i. So if you write only ret, you will simply return. If you write ret-i, you will return as well as re-enable interrupts. So ret-i is written for ISRs. Okay, that's the difference between the two. So with this, what we've done are basic jumps and calls. Now, they are very important from theory point of view. You can get them as a 5-mark question, especially call and return. You may get it in 2 ways. You may get a direct question, explain call and return. That's more likely, explain how subroutines are executed. That's the way they ask in Bombay University, whichever university you are in. So, you may get it that way also. Explain how subroutines are invoked, or explain the role of stack in execution of a subroutine, etc. You know, examples, they can twist the way they want the question. The answer is pretty much the same. Now, what we're learning are a list of conditional jumps from here to here. All of them are conditional jumps, different types of conditional jumps. There's something called CJNE, not used very often. Yes, it is used. Matrix keyboard program is a classic example where it is used. I have done that program, the video for that is also there. Check it out, please. So it's not a very frequently used instruction, but yes, when required, it is a very useful instruction. CJNE stands for compare and jump if not equal. Say it again. Compare and jump if not equal. So what it do? It has 3 entities, x, y and the label where you want to jump. It will compare x and y. If they are not equal, it will jump to the location called label. So if you write CJNE x, y, label, first thing it will do is compare x and y. If they are equal, program will simply go ahead to the next instruction. For that, do we have to do anything great? No. By default, PC gets implemented, so program anyways would have gone to the next instruction. So this instruction will do nothing if x and y are equal. If they are not equal, program will take a jump. Hence the name compare and jump if not equal. If they are not equal, x and y are not equal, program will take a jump to the location called label. Are you clear? Let's take examples. CJNE A comma hash 25 comma label. Come on, explain this to me. CJNE, compare and jump if not equal. It will compare A with the number 25. If A is not equal to 25, program will take a jump to the location called label. Otherwise, program will simply go to the next instruction. Did you understand this? Now, similarly, there are more types. Explain them by yourself. CJNE A comma 25. So, is there a difference between hash 25 and 25? Yes, I'm sure you know that. This is data 25. This is location 25. So, if A, it will compare A with the contents of the location 25. If A and contents of location 25 are not equal, program will take a jump to the label. Otherwise, it will go to the next instruction. CJNE R0 comma hash 25. It will compare any register. It could have been any register over here. I'm just taking R0 as an example. So it will compare that register with the value 25. Again, the same thing. And this will compare @R0 means that you know that, right? You know what is @R0. Please watch addressing modes before you learn instruction set. Don't watch videos randomly. In the classroom, obviously, we teach in that sequence. And that's the way you're going to learn. You can't learn this before you know addressing modes. Only then you know what this instruction is. So CJNE @R0 comma hash 25 will compare the location data of the location pointed by R0. If R0 is 30, it will compare the contents of location 30 with the value 25. Again, if they are not equal, it will jump to the location label. Otherwise, you will go to the next instruction. Did you understand all of these instructions? So what does CJNE do basically? This is how they ask in Bombay University. They don't give the full instruction. Obviously, that's because it makes it easy. This is how it is asked as a 2-mark question. Explain CJNE X comma Y comma Z or X comma Y comma label. It will compare X and Y. If they are not equal, program will jump to the location label. Otherwise, you will go to the next location. Simple. Next. DJNZ. Very, very frequently used instruction. Practically every loop of 8051 is made using this instruction. Okay. If you've done serious programs in college, you come across this instruction lots of times. DJNZ stands for decrement and jump if not 0. I'm going to teach it in a full example because it's a very useful instruction. DJNZ, count comma label. So DJNZ stands for decrement and jump if not 0. It will decrement this count. This count can be any register or it can be any memory location. So it will decrement that count and keep doing it till the time it's not 0. If decrement and jump if not 0. So it will decrement the count. If it is not 0, it will jump to the location label. Do one more iteration. Decrement the count. If it is not 0, jump to the location label. Keep doing this. The moment it becomes 0, it will not jump. Not jump means it will simply go to the next location and break the loop. So this is the instruction that makes the loop. If you want to do a loop of 5 iterations, give a count of 5. You will get first iteration, it will become 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, loop breaks. The 5 iterations are over, loop breaks and you go ahead. I'll be showing you with examples, don't worry. The count can be either in a register or in a memory location. Most people keep it in a register. This is just in theory, yeah, this instruction exists. In 18 years of teaching, I've never seen a situation where you need this. You will need this when you run out of registers. Come on, 8051 has 32 registers. R0 to R7 4 times. No, at least at a student level, you will never write a program where your 32 registers are occupied. Anyway, so you never use this instruction. But it is there. You cannot be choosy when you learn instructions. Know every instruction, okay? You get a 10-mark question where they ask you 5 instructions. If you know the instructions, each instruction got 2 marks, takes 2 minutes to do. 10 marks, 10 minutes. Job done. Anyway, and these are questions that give you full marks. So know every instruction, but being a teacher is my job to tell you what is useful, what is not. I have never seen the use of this instruction, but yeah, that very much exists. It will be used when, I can tell you the use of, it will be used when your registers are over, but they never are over. There are so many registers. This is very popular. You keep your count in some register and go on decrementing it till the time the register becomes 0. Now, since we talk about loops, I'm going to show you how to create a loop. For that, I need to move the camera this side of the loop. So, we are learning how to create loops. Loops, you know, if you've done programs, you need loops a lot in programs, if you've seen programs. So, first we are learning how to make an infinite loop, okay? You need it. There are various programs that need infinite loops. Suppose this is a program. I put a label back. This is the section which I want to do in a loop. I write jump. With jump, it can be short, long, absolute. That is not our concern. Our concern is that it's an unconditional jump. Okay? It can be short, long, absolute. The difference is just how far this distance is. So I use any kind of jump. Let's say short jump. The point is it's an unconditional jump. So jump to the location back. So what will happen? Program will come up to here. Will jump to back. Then again will come down. Again will go back. Again will come down. Again will go back. And this will end up becoming a loop. But what kind of loop? This will end up becoming an infinite loop. Why? Because you have not put any condition. An unconditional jump causes an infinite loop. Please tell me, did you understand this? Are infinite loops useful? Yes. Suppose you're making a program for a digital watch, which you want to put outside your college as a clock. Okay, come by this time and you can skew it the way you want. Anyway, so you want to make a program for a watch. What do you need? 3 registers, an hours counter, minutes counter, a seconds counter. Initialize all of them with 0, go on incrementing the seconds counter. When it reaches 60, make it 0, increment the minutes counter. When it reaches 60, make it 0, increment the hours counter. When it reaches 24, make everything 0. One day is over. That's your program. Now, will the next day be any bigger? No, be the same. So all you need to do is put this program in a loop. When should the loop stop? After 1 week? No. After 1 year? No. After your 4 years of engineering? No. It should go on as long as possible. So that means that program is an infinite loop. Just giving an example. There are numerous examples. Okay. So this is how you make an infinite loop. By writing an unconditional jump to a backward location. Are you clear? Now, what are more useful? Of course, finite loops. That's the one. That's the one you have to learn properly, okay? I want your full concentration here. If you know how to create a loop, you know how to write big programs. All big programs are small programs put in a loop. Get this clear. A program to add 100 numbers is the same program as to add 1 number. Add 1 number, put it in a register, put it in a loop with a count of 100, you added 100 numbers. Transfer 1 number, put it in a loop with a count of 100, you transferred 100 numbers, and so on. Okay, you want to do sorting, compare 2 numbers, the correct order, leave them, they not, exchange them. Put in a loop into another loop. You sort, and finish. Your sorting program is over. So the whole idea of big programs is to put a core into a loop. So if you know how to make loops, you know how to write serious programs. Okay, look here. And it's very easy. It's a big thing, but it's very easy. Suppose this is a program. This is a section which you want to do again and again. I've written a label by the name back. You can keep any name to a label. I've kept the name back. Suppose I want to do this loop 5 times. So I keep my count 5 inside some register. Move some register, comma, #05H. You can use any register you want. Give me the name. Give me some register. First register that comes to your mind. Say something. A. Bad choice. That's why I wanted you to say it. If you said A, bad choice. Don't feel bad if you make a mistake. Keep ego aside when you're learning. Okay? If I make a mistake, I'm a student, and if I make a mistake, I feel happy because that means I was thinking something wrong. Henceforth, I will not repeat that mistake. That's how you learn. That's how you refine your ideas. Never keep your count in A. Why? It's not like a rule. There's no book saying that. It's not rule. It's our experience. If you keep your count in A, you have blocked A register. Do understand all adds, all subtracts, and or etc., multiply, divide, they all work on A register. A is your biggest tool in programming. How can you waste A register in holding the count? It's not like you cannot do it, but it is stupid. You've blocked your most important register, your trump card. If you're playing chess, you lost your queen in the first move. That's it. What do you do after that? Anyway, so all I'm trying to say is don't waste A register in such unnecessary things. Okay? You need A to be free. Otherwise, all you'll do inside the loop is nothing because every instruction practically needs A. Anyway, so don't use A. Give me another register. R0. Okay. Nothing great. Don't use R0, R1. These are things no textbook teaches you. These are things where experience teaches you. You don't have it, but I have it. I'm sharing it with you. Get a benefit from that. R0, R1 are the only registers that can be used as pointers. When you use something as a pointer, your idea is to access a series of locations in a loop. So you understand if you're making a loop, in all probabilities, you want to access a series of locations. So in all probabilities, you need R0, R1 over there. If you waste R0, R1 in holding the count, how are you going to make them use as a pointer? You have abundant registers in 8051. R2 to R7 4 times. There are 4 banks. There is no shortage of registers. Just use them diligently. Don't waste A in unnecessary things and avoid using R0, R1 unless you really need them. Okay? For simple basic stuff, use other registers. Keep these trump cards available with you when you need them. Okay? So I, as a habit, never use A, and to keep as much as possible avoiding using R0 and R1 where I can avoid them. So I'm keeping the register R7. You can use any register you want to. There are so many registers. So I've kept the count in R7. At the end of the loop, decrement R7. So what will happen if it was 5? It will become 4. next time 3, next time 2, next time 1, next time 0. When it becomes 0, you should finish your iterations. So you'll be writing JNZ. JNZ stands for jump if not 0. I'm not finishing it. This is how loops were made in 8085. When Intel made 8085, their first marvelous product, this is how they used to make loops. Then they realized every loop requires these two instructions. Decrement a count and then jump if not 0. Decrement a count and jump if not 0. So if every loop requires these two instructions, why waste time with the programmer in writing two instructions? Why not create a smarter instruction that will do both the things? DJNZ R7, back. DJNZ. DJNZ stands for decrement and jump if not 0. What will it do? It will decrement R7. If the value is not 0, it will jump to the location back. Let's see. First iteration, R7 was 5. It will become 4. 4 is not 0. It will jump to back. Next iteration, 3, not 0, jump to back. Next iteration, 2, next iteration, 1, next iteration, 0. Now it has become 0. I said decrement and jump if not 0, but it has become 0. It will not jump to back. If it will not jump, then what will it do? It will just sit there? No, it will go to the next instruction. By default, program goes to the next instruction. That means it will do your iterations and come out. How many iterations did it do? I've given a count of 5. Look at these lines. These lines are your iterations. Your first iteration count became 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The loop breaks. That means you did this section 5 times. Did you understand this? You give a count of 5, you get exactly 5 iterations. Let's take one more example. Suppose this is a program. I want to do this section 8 times. I've put a label by the name back. What will you do? Move R7, hash 08H DJNZ R7, back. Show me what will happen. First iteration count will become 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The loop breaks. Exactly 8 iterations. So did you understand how to make a loop? Come on, look here without looking at the board. This is a program. You want to do this part again and again 9 times. Give a count of 9 inside some register. Where will you do it? Inside the loop or outside? Yeah, let's not be stupid. You'll give the count outside the loop. If you give it inside the loop, it will always be 9. So outside the loop, give your count in some register like R7. Do your whole iteration. At the end, write DJNZ R7, back. Back is the place where you start the loop from. First iteration count will become 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Loop will break. Exactly 9 iterations. I think I've made my point clear. So if you give a count of 7, you get 7 iterations. You give a count of 25, you get 25 iterations. 94, you get 94 iterations, and so on. Are you clear? So what did you understand? Bigger the count, more is the number of iterations. I'm coming to a very important question. Before that, did you understand how to make a loop? Good. You'll need it. You'll need it in practice. After you add 2 numbers, all serious programs that you do, you'll require loops. Okay? So you know how to make a loop. Now my question is, as you increase the count, you increase the number of iterations. Your count is in an 8-bit register. R7 is an 8-bit register. What is the biggest count you can give? An 8-bit register can hold a max value of FF. FF is 255. Listen carefully. FF is 255. So if you give a count of 7, you get 7 iterations. If you give a count of FF, you get FF iterations. FF is 255. Okay, not 256. 0 to FF are 256 numbers. FF is 255. Like 0 to 5 are 6 numbers. But 5 is not 6. 5 is 5. So if you give a count of 5, you get 5 iterations. If you give a count of FF, you get 255 iterations. Did you understand this? As I said, as you increase the count, you increase the number of iterations. The biggest count is FF. That will yield 255 iterations. So here is your Viva question. How do you generate 256 iterations? There are examiners. I go for Viva. Examiners know there are some questions which very few students can answer. Which are those students who have read the whole book, the textbooks, who have really slogged it out, or who have done a lot of programs and Some knowledge you get from books, some knowledge you get just by doing programs. Lots and lots of programs automatically reveal interesting facts to you. There are a lot of things I've learned from programs, which is not there in any book. Anyway, so coming back. So here is the question. They know these questions can be answered only by a few students. If you answer this, you impress the exam, you bowl them over. How do you produce 256 iterations? If you're preparing for GATE exam, very important question. How do you produce 256 iterations? I said, your register is an 8-bit register. An 8-bit register can have a max value of FF. FF is 255. So if I initialize R7 with the value FF, it can't be bigger than FF. If I initialize R7 with FF, I get only 255 iterations. I want 256 iterations. When I ask the student to question in the class, some students say, sir, do this section once again. How is that even an answer? Then do it 256 times only. Why are you making a loop? Using this loop structure, produce 256 iterations. How are you going to do it? Give a count of 0. That's the answer. Unbelievable, but true. Initialize your R7 with the value 0. If you give a count of 5, you get 5 iterations. If you give a count of 3, you get 3 iterations. If you give a count of 0, will you get 0 iterations? No. How can you get 0 iterations? You've given a count of 0. You are still doing 1 iteration. Before you do any check or anything, you're still doing 1 iteration. So your 1 iteration is over. Then what is it? So read it. It's not JNZD. It is DJNZ. What does that mean? Full form. Decrement and jump if not 0. First it will decrement, then it will check. Do you understand that? So it will decrement R7. It won't check R7 first. It will first decrement R7. R7 was 0. When you decrement 0, it becomes -1. -1 in 2's complement form is FF. I've done this in various videos before. Okay. So when you decrement 0, it becomes FF. Like if you increment FF, it goes to 0. So vice versa. Decrement 0 becomes FF. FF is not 0. Not 0 means it will go back. Now R7 is FF. So from now onwards you will get FF iterations. FF is 255. But it already had finished 1 iteration. That means it will produce 256 iterations. Please tell me, did you understand this? It's so crazy. It just blows your mind. As you increase the count, you get more iterations. But the biggest number of iterations surprisingly come with a count of 0. Please tell me, did you understand? So once again, count of FF will give you 255 iterations. Count of 0 will give you 256 iterations. Count of 1 will give you 1 iteration, not 257. It will give you 1 iteration. Please tell me you understand that, right? If you give a count of 1, you do 1 iteration, decrement, it will become 0. I said decrement and jump if not 0, but it's already 0, it will break the loop. So it will give you only 1 iteration. So the max number of iterations that can be produced are 256. Please tell me, are you clear? And that using an 8-bit register, of course. And that is possible by giving a count of 0. Anyway, so I'm just keeping what was there initially, but just gave you the answer. Please tell me, is this clear? Now, just a handful of instructions remaining. This was the most important instruction of the whole board, okay? In terms of usage, in frequency of use. Out of all of them, you use this the most. JC, JNC, very obvious instructions. If 8051 is the first processor you're learning, you need to know these instructions. If you learned any other processor, you come across them. They're so popular. JC stands for jump if carry, JNC stands for jump if no carry. They're typically used after add programs. When you do addition or subtraction, there is a carry or a borrow. For that, you use JC and JNC. So very typical instruction. JC label, it'll check the carry flag. If carry flag is 1, it'll jump to the location label, otherwise it'll go to the next location. JNC will again check the carry flag. Jump if no carry. No carry means if carry flag is 0, it will take a jump, otherwise we'll go to the next location. That's very simple. After this, we'll be doing programs, videos on programming. You'll be seeing programs of add. You'll see this instruction. Definitely not just add, you'll see it in quite a few more programs also. Anyway, JZ, JNZ. Just like JC checks whether there is a carry or not, JZ checks whether the answer is 0 or not. But there's a difference. JC and JNC work on the carry flag. JZ and JNZ don't work on the 0 flag. There is no 0 flag. They work on accumulator. Say again, they work on what? Accumulator. So JZ label, it will check A register. If A register is 0, JZ means jump if 0. So if A is 0, it will jump to label. If A is not 0, it will go ahead. Similarly, JNZ, jump if not 0. If A is not 0, it will jump to label. Otherwise, we'll go to the next instruction. So basically, the difference between JC, JNC and JZ, JNZ is these two check the carry flag, these two check accumulator. Jump, this is not a conditional jump. It's a very rarely used instruction also, but it exists. As I said, don't be choosy. There are so many instructions I teach. I teach more than 1,200-300 instructions. I've not done a total count. But out of that, I know there are good 200-300 instructions out of all the processors, which are very, very rarely used, and some of them I've never seen their use in all these years of teaching. But still, they still exist. They've been made to be used someday or the other in some situation or the other. As a student, you don't come across them. So you'll never really come across a situation where you need to use this instruction, but still it exists. Jump @ A plus dptr. PC will get the value of A plus dptr. So program is taking a jump to a location whose address is not given by one register, it's given by a sum of two registers, A plus dptr. So dptr plus A together will give a number, that number will be put into PC, program will take a jump to that location. Please tell me, are you clear? Now, Bombay University 5-mark question. Exactly this title. Explain bitwise. Bitwise is also called Boolean. Explain Boolean conditional instructions. These are also conditional jumps, but they are Boolean, which means they check a bit. JB, jump if bit. Such a common mistake. JC is jump if carry. Some students very innocently, JB, jump if borrow. No, my friend. Carry and borrow are the same thing. For borrow also, you basically check the carry flag. So there's no instruction called jump if borrow. JB stands for jump if bit. JB bit label, that's the syntax. So if this bit can be any bit. I've given an example of P0.3. You know SFRs are bit addressable. There are bit operations in 8051. So if P0.3, jump if bit means 1. So if P0.3 is 1, program will take a jump to the location down. Otherwise, it will simply go to the next location. Please tell me, are you clear? This is your program. You've written JB PSW.4, skip. If PSW.4 is 1, program will take a jump to the location skip, otherwise will simply go to the next location. Please tell me, are you clear? So it's checking a single bit. That's why it's called bitwise conditional instruction. It can be any bit of any register, whichever is bit addressable, of course. A, B, PSW, P0, P1, P2, P3, SCON, TCON, IE and IP are bit addressable. Okay, so out of those registers, it can check any bit and go to that location based on whatever location you've written. So that is JB, jump if bit. JNB, jump if not bit. Not bit means not set. Not set means 0. So if some bit is 0, program will jump to the location label. Example If you've seen timer programs, you know you use this instruction a lot. Okay? JNB. TF0, timer overflow flag. I'm not teaching timers over here. Don't mix two topics. I'm just using that as an example. So TF0 is timer overflow flag. So JNB, if that jump if not bit means 0. If TF0 is 0, jump to wait. 0, jump to wait. 0, jump to wait. So you've created a loop. Is it an infinite loop? No. There is a condition. If this bit is 0, jump here. So the moment this bit becomes 1, the loop breaks. So this is how you do timer programs. You give your count, you give your mode, you start the timer, and then you keep looping. Wait for the timer to overflow. When this bit becomes 1, this loop automatically will break and program will go ahead. So very useful in timer programs. Even in serial port programs, same thing. You decide serial port mode, you do all the time programming, you put your data in SBUF register, go on transmitting, wait for TI to become 1. So this is an instruction which has big use in complex programs of timers, of serial port, etc. So for the last time, JNB X, label. What does that mean? If this bit is 0, program will take a jump to location label. That label can be anywhere. It can be on the same instruction also, just as I've given an example. So if this bit is 0, program will go there. Otherwise, it will simply go to the next location. Then, last one, JBC, the last instruction of all the 21. Big video, yeah? I thought it would be a small one. JBC, jump if bit and clear. Say again. Jump if bit and clear. Some people also say jump if bit and complement. Means the same thing. Okay, so you can treat it the way you want. Now look here. In this context, it means the same thing. I'll explain to you. JBC, don't look at C right now. Just look at JB. What is JB? Jump if bit. So if this bit, don't look at C. JB P0.7 comma down. So if P0.7 is 1, only then program will take a jump to location down. Tell me, do you understand that much? Now what is JBC? It's a double action instruction. It'll do two things. Not only jump if bit and clear. So only if this bit is 1, program will take a jump to location down, and while jumping will also clear the bit. Did you understand? Two actions. So when you encounter this instruction, P0.7 could be either 0 or 1, correct? Jump if bit. So if P0.7 is 1, only then it will perform the jump. And while jumping will also make this bit 0. Please tell me, did you understand? If P0.0 was 0, it will do nothing. It will simply go to the next instruction. If this bit was 1, it will jump, and while jumping will clear the bit. You can also say complement the bit, because it was 1, you complement it, becomes 0, you clear it, becomes 0. So in this context, JBC can be said as jump if bit and clear, or jump if bit and complement. Different textbooks, different full forms, means the same thing. Please tell me, did you understand? So that was your whole branch control group. Let me just revise them. You have basic jumps, short, long and absolute. You have basic calls, you have return. In a call there is a push, in a return there is a pop. You have ordinary return and you have reti. The only difference is in reti you also enable interrupts. You have conditional jumps like CJ and E. It will compare two numbers. If they are not equal, only then it will jump. You have DJ and Z. It will decrement a register. If it is not equal to 0, it will do the jump. So it is used to create a loop. Infinite loops are made using unconditional jumps. Finite loops are made using DJ and Z. I have taught you how to produce 256 iterations. Then basic conditional jumps, which are there in every processor. Carry, no carry, 0, no 0. The only thing is, it doesn't check the 0 flag, it checks accumulator. For carry, it checks the carry flag, of course. Jump at the rate A plus DPTR. Program will take a jump to the location whose address is given by a sum of two registers. So it will do DPTR, let's say is 1000, A let's say is 25, it will add the 2, becomes 1025. Program will take a jump to location 1025. PC will get 1025. Boolean conditional instructions, so they are used to check individual bits of registers. JB will jump if the bit is 1, JNB will jump if the bit is 0, JBC will jump if the bit is 1, and while jumping will make the bit 0. Please tell me, are you clear? That's the whole conditional or the branch instructions of 8051. See ya.